Lesson 1.4. Our objective is to apply the distributive property. The distributive property. For all real numbers a, b, and c, a times the sum of b and c is equal to a times b plus a times c, or a times the difference of b and c is equal to a times b minus a times c. The distributive property simply tells us that we can multiply the term that's outside of the parentheses to each term that's inside of the parentheses. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Math Academy. Today's lesson we're going to apply the distributive property. When applying the distributive property, it's fairly simple. All you want to do is you want to multiply the number outside of the parentheses to every term inside of the parentheses. So for my first example, I have 3 times x plus 2. I'm simply going to take the 3 that's outside of the parentheses and I'm going to multiply it to the x. Then I'll multiply to the 2. That will give me 3 times x is 3x and 3 times 2 is 6. I don't have any like terms that I can combine, so this is my final answer. Let's try a couple of more examples together, then I'll have you try 3 on your own. I'm going to go down to this next one. 4 times the difference of 4x and 7. So I'll multiply the 4 outside to 4x, giving me 16x. And then 4 times negative 7 gives me a negative 28. So I end up with 16x minus 28. And then this next one we're going to do together. Let me bring it up just a little bit more, a little better. I have a negative outside the parentheses, and inside I have x minus 5. Well, the minus sign that's outside, that's the same as saying negative 1 times x minus 5. It's just like I'm distributing a negative 1. So I'd say negative 1 times x. That gives me a negative x. And negative times a negative 5 gives me a positive 5. And that's my final answer. Now what I want you to do, I want you to pause the video and try the 3 problems that are on the right side of the screen. Then once you are finished, I want you to restart the video and check your answers. If you've restarted the video, that means you're ready to check your answers. So let's go ahead and check your answers. If you've made a mistake, make sure that you make corrections as we go along. Okay, so for the next one, I have a negative 8 that I'm going to distribute. So negative 8 times 3x will give me a negative 24x. And then negative 8 times a negative 8 gives me a positive 64. There are no terms alike that we can combine, so that's the final answer. On the next one, we're distributing this negative 9, so negative 9 times a negative 2x gives me a positive 18x, and then negative 9 times a positive 1 gives me a negative 9. And then the last one, I have this negative outside, and remember, if it helps you to rewrite it as negative 1 times 10x plus 15, do so, or you don't need to. So I'm distributing this negative throughout. Negative times 10x gives me a negative 10x. And then the negative times a positive 15 gives me a negative 15. And that's my final answer. For example 2, we're still applying the distributive property. However, we're going to have to simplify each expression after applying the distributive property. Okay, so on this first one I have 10 plus. Now this is where the distributive property comes in. I have 6 times negative 3x plus 3. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring down my 10. I'm just going to rewrite it. Now I'll distribute the 6. So this becomes 6 times negative 3, which is a negative 18x. and then 6 times a positive 3, which gives me positive 18. Okay? Now I'm going to see which like terms that I have, and I'm going to group them together. I'm going to write my variable part first. And then I'll have plus 10 plus 18. And I'll see which ones I see here. I have my like terms together. So I'll just rewrite it as a negative 18x, combine my like terms here, plus 28. And that's my final answer. On my next one, it's the same thing. I have a negative 2 that I'm going to distribute, so that becomes negative 2 times x, which gives me a negative 2x. And then I have a negative 2 times positive h. Oh, positive 8 which gives me a negative 16. And then I'll just bring down this minus 8x. Well, I want to rewrite it with my like terms together. I'm just rewriting and I'm putting my like terms together. Okay, so now I have a negative 2 minus 8x, which gives me a negative 10x. And then I'll bring down the 16 because I didn't have a like term for it. I didn't have anything like it. So that's my final answer. My next one, the 6x, I'll just bring it down. I'll rewrite it, and I have to distribute the 5. Now remember, you're only distributing what's directly outside of the parentheses. I will have students from time to time, they will try to distribute something way over here, but this is separated by a plus sign. But they'll try to distribute the 6x. No, you're only distributing what's directly in front of it. Okay? This is another operation. That's plus. We're adding that. So now I have 5 times 1, which is just 5. And then 5 times x, which gives me 5x. Once again, I'm going to group my like terms together. That's 6x plus 5x plus 5. What are my like terms here? 6x and 5x gives me 11x, then plus 5. Now keep in mind, you do not have to, this extra step that I'm doing where I am, this step here, where I am grouping my like terms together, you don't necessarily have to do that. But now if you're confused and you keep missing things, it's better to go ahead and group like terms together, okay? Now let's look at this next one. On this one, we clearly see we're going to have to apply the distributive property twice. So let's go ahead and get started. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 10x gives me 70x. Now over here I have 2 times 3x gives me 6x. And then 2 times 3 gives me my plus 6. Now I want to group my like terms together. I'm going to put my variable parts together first. I have 70x plus 6x. And then I have plus 56 plus 6. My like terms are clearly 70x and 6x, which is 76x. And then I have 56 and 6, which gives me plus 62. And that's my final answer. Now what I want you to do is pause the video and try those remaining 3 by yourself. If you've restarted the video, that means that you are ready to check your answers at the bottom of the page. So let's go ahead and check them out. Oh, this next one, clearly I have to use my distributive property twice again. So 3 times a negative x gives me a negative 3x. And then 3 times a negative 7 gives me a negative 21. Okay, so for the second set, I'll have 2 times 6. That'll give me a plus 6. And then 2 times 9x will give me a plus 18x. Now I'm grouping my like terms together. Once again, remember, you really don't have to do this step I just grouped the terms together before I actually combine. And then I had a negative 21 plus 6. So negative 3 plus 18 gives me a 15x. Then I had negative 21 plus 6 gives me negative 15. So I end up with 15x minus 15. And the next one, same thing. Negative 9 times 2, negative 18. And then negative 9 times a positive 3 gives me a negative 27x. Then I have this negative outside. Remember, that's the same as distributing negative 1. So that's a negative times 1 gives me a negative 1. And then I have the negative times a positive 2x, times a negative 2x gives me a positive 2x. Once again, I'm going to group my like terms together. Negative 27x plus 2x. Then I'll bring down this minus 18 minus 1. Combine like terms becomes a negative 25. Uh-oh, not negative 5. Should be a negative 25. Negative 25x, like terms here. Negative 18 minus 1 gives me negative 19. So I'm left with negative 25 minus 19 for my answer. And then for this last one, you see there are 3 terms on the inside of my parentheses, so I'll have to distribute that 3 to 3 different terms. So this becomes 3 times 2, which is 6x. This is 3 times a negative 4y, which gives me a negative 12y. And then 3 times a negative xy, which will give me a negative 3xy. Then I'll bring down what's remaining, 4xy plus 10y. Now I want to get like terms together, and I'll group the xy's together. So I have a negative 3xy plus 4xy. Done those. Then I believe I'll group the y's together. So I had a negative 12y plus 10y. Let me fix this, make it look more like a y instead of a 4. Then the x term is by itself, so I'll add on plus 6x. Combine like terms, negative 3x plus 4x. Here just leaves me with xy. Negative 3xy plus 4xy leaves me with just xy. And then I have a negative 12y plus 10y that leaves me with negative 2y. Didn't have anything to combine with this one, so I'll just bring it down. So that leaves me with xy minus 2y plus 6x, and that's my final answer. I hope this video has been of some use to you. If so, you can find more of my videos on YouTube at the Math Academy online. Also, if you want to find us online, it's at www.mathacademyonline.com. If you're looking for a personal tutor, you can check us out there. Thank you, and I hope you watch more videos.